In the year 2025, something shocking began to unfold in Ethiopia, unbeknownst to most of the world. Cameras and sensors captured an unbelievable sight. The ground in Ethiopia began to sink, splitting open right before the eyes of the people. Cracks formed, creating deep gaps where entire houses and roads could vanish. It might sound like something from a science fiction story, but it's happening today, right now, beneath the feet of millions of people in one of the most unforgiving regions on Earth. What could be causing this? Beneath the surface, stress builds up over time. Slowly, almost unnoticed, pressure mounts until it erupts in a series of underground jolts. If you've ever wondered what it looks like when a massive continent begins to pull apart, you're witnessing that rare phenomenon in real time. We often think of the ground as solid and immovable. We build cities and lay roads as though the planet's foundation is permanent. But a glance at East Africa shows how fragile that illusion truly is. In this region, enormous cracks stretch across the plains, running to the horizon. Scientists call this the East African Rift. What's happening here is the birth of a new ocean. In places where land currently exists, there could one day be water. Roads and villages may slowly disappear as the Earth's crust stretches and thins. To understand the scale of this process, let's rewind to one evening in March 2018 in the village of Mai Mahiu, Kenya. For Eliud Njoroge and his wife, it was just another night. Rain had been falling for several days. The family was having dinner, and the lamp was burning brightly when they heard it. A sharp, dry crack, like the sound of breaking ceramic. Seconds later, it turned into a low rumble, but it wasn't coming from above or outside. It was coming from beneath their feet. Eliud later explained, "It wasn't like an earthquake. The ground didn't shake. The dishes didn't rattle. The house simply gave way. The concrete floor cracked open. A wall collapsed, and part of their home disappeared into the widening gap." Eliud managed to grab his wife's hand just before the floor fell away. By morning, it was clear this wasn't just a local mishap or the result of rain. Drone footage revealed something shocking. A vast crack ran through green fields, cutting across roads, slicing through entire neighborhoods. The crack was perfectly straight, as if drawn with a ruler, stretching for kilometers. It was about 20 meters wide and 15 meters deep, about the height of a 5-story building. But what truly stunned people was how quickly it happened. There were no warning tremors or rumbling noises. The ground simply split open. The official explanation was that heavy rain had washed away volcanic ash, destabilizing the soil and causing it to collapse. This seemed plausible at first. However, experts soon realized the crack aligned perfectly with an ancient tectonic fault line. It didn't avoid hills or elevations, but sliced right through them, indicating this wasn't simply erosion. It was a shift in the Earth's crust. If we look at Africa on the map, we can see the process of continental rifting in action. The African lithospheric plate is slowly splitting into two parts: the Western Nubian plate and the Eastern Somali plate. They are moving apart by about 6 to 7 millimeters per year. For humans, this seems insignificant, but even a small amount of movement puts immense stress on the Earth. Over time, energy builds up and eventually releases in moments like the one seen in Kenya. If the crack in Kenya is just beginning, 1,000 kilometers to the north, the process has already dramatically changed the landscape. Here, green savannas have given way to volcanic deserts. The ground is black with basalt, and sulfuric deposits stain the air with heat. This is one of the hottest, most inhospitable places on Earth, where people still live. Local legends say that the devil himself plows a land here. In September 2005, those words took on a chilling new meaning. Nomads in the area began noticing strange behaviors. Camels refused to lie down on the sand, and goats acted unusually agitated. The surface looked normal, but something beneath it was shifting. A series of earthquakes struck, one after the other. Over 10 days, instruments recorded 163 quakes, with a magnitude above 3. It wasn't one big shock, but a constant, unsettling tremor, as if a giant machine was at work beneath the ground. Then on September 14th, the ground split open. A massive crack about 60 kilometers long and up to 8 meters wide appeared. It was as though the earth had been cleaved in two, and the crack was wide enough to swallow a bus. Superheated gases and steam billowed from the split, and the air became thick with heat. Normally, cracks like this form over centuries, but in afar. This happened in just a matter of days. What typically takes nature hundreds of years to accomplish was completed in hours. Fresh magma poured out, and dark smoke rose from the fissure. This is how the Earth creates new ocean floors, and for the first time, this process was happening on land. Satellites reveal that parts of the land are now more than 100 meters below sea level, like a 30-story building, but sinking into the ground. Separating this area from the Red Sea is a thin strip of rock called the Eritrean Highlands. This strip is covered in tiny cracks, and scientists are no longer wondering if it will eventually give way. They're just waiting for it to happen. A single jolt could cause water to rush in, filling the basin so quickly that a new coastline could form in just hours. So why is all of this happening now? And why is it unfolding so quickly? For many years, scientists thought Africa was simply splitting along one line, like tearing a sheet of paper from the edge. But in 2020, a study revealed something far more complex. The rift contains a massive block the size of Germany, which includes Lake Victoria, much of Uganda, and parts of Kenya. This block is slowly rotating. Imagine a heavy stone caught between two massive plates, the Nubian and Somali plates. As they move apart, the block slowly rotates counterclockwise, shifting and changing the way the land cracks. This causes fractures to form unpredictably, creating fractures that extend across vast distances. But what can create enough force to move an entire piece of a continent? The official explanation points to a softer layer beneath the Earth's crust. Plates move on this layer like ice on water. It's a slow, constant movement that doesn't happen overnight. However, there's a deeper hypothesis. Beneath Africa lies the African superplume, a massive column of superheated material pushing the continent apart from within. Imagine the force of an eggshell being pushed from the inside. To understand this, we must look deep beneath the surface to a place where water becomes acidic and air burns the lungs. Here, in the Ethiopian-Eritrean border region, lies Dallol, one of the most alien landscapes on Earth. The ground is covered in neon yellow fields, green toxic pools, and red mineral deposits. It looks like something from a different planet, but it's very real. This area is the lowest land-based volcano on Earth, sitting nearly 50 meters below sea level. The air is thick with sulfur and salt, and temperatures rarely drop below 45 degrees Celsius. The silence here is deafening, with no birds, no insects, not even microscopic life. In 2019, scientists discovered something strange in Dalol. There is no resilient life here. Despite the presence of water, the area is sterile. This is a rare place on Earth where water does not sustain life. And this could be what the surface of a future ocean floor looks like when the rift finally splits the continent in two. But the rift has more strange features. Further south, in Tanzania, lies Lake Natron, whose water is so alkaline that it's like a concentrated solution of soda and ammonia. Animals that fall into it do not decompose. They turn into petrified statues. The rift system is not only about visible danger, it's also about invisible threats, like gases rising from deep beneath the earth. These gases, carbon dioxide and methane, can't be seen or detected until it's too late. In 1986, in Lake Nyos in Cameroon, carbon dioxide that had been trapped for years suddenly erupted, suffocating 1,746 people and 3,500 livestock. It wasn't a visible disaster, but it was deadly. The rift is full of such hidden dangers. And just like Lake Nyos, the gases beneath East Africa are potentially deadly. While the visible cracks in the Earth's surface are dramatic, the unseen forces beneath may be even more dangerous. If we continue to dig deeper, we find something even more alarming. At a depth of about 3,000 kilometers beneath Africa, at the boundary between the mantle and core, scientists have found something strange. A massive anomaly known as the blob. This is a region where seismic waves slow down, indicating a difference in the material beneath. It's a superheated mass that moves slowly, exerting constant pressure on the Earth's crust. This is the African superplume. The Earth's internal heat rises slowly, weakening the crust and pushing the tectonic plates apart. And as the plates shift, the land above is cracking open. But the pressure beneath doesn't just cause cracks, it's pushing toward a release. In 1972, scientists discovered something strange in ancient uranium deposits in West Africa. The uranium was depleted, as if it had been burned, and tests showed that it had once undergone a natural nuclear reaction. This reactor, formed by groundwater acting as a moderator, lasted for hundreds of thousands of years. What if this ancient reaction was just a side effect of a larger process? The Earth is constantly cycling through periods of heating and cooling, and the rift could be the Earth's way of releasing the pressure it has built up over millions of years. In Lalibela, Ethiopia, the ancient temples carved into rock suggest that people understood something about this geological tension. These temples were carved downward, not upward, likely to protect them from seismic activity. In this area, the stone is not just material, it's a shield. The rift zone is slowly creeping toward the Gulf of Aden, a region of intense geopolitical importance. Beneath the surface, the mantle continues to rise. And when it finally breaks free, the results will be monumental. In a few million years, the Somali Plate could separate from Africa, becoming an island in the Indian Ocean. The landscape, the climate, and human life will be forever changed. The map of Africa will look very different, and humans will have to adapt to this new reality. The East African Rift is not just a geological curiosity. It's a reminder that the planet is alive and changing. For us, it may look like a disaster, but for the Earth, it's simply the next step in its ongoing transformation. The Earth isn't static, it's constantly evolving, and we are just living through one of its many transitions. What do you think? Let me know in the comments.